Hello, fellow teachers of ESOL. It's I, Austin Nichols. Nice to be with you again today. Once more, I brim with appreciation for this assignment and process. In a practicum with Professor Tan of Psychological Foundations of Education, I'm meeting with a 15-year-old student from rural China. As a teacher of English as a foreign language in China virtually since April 1st of last year, I've become enamored with the process of bringing my native language to those eager to learn. There's a gap, however, in the veracity of English language learning in Chinese cities versus that of what is being learned in rural areas. I see a similar divide in our country, but due to common core standardization and countrywide adaptation, the divide here is not nearly as deep as is felt there. That being said, all good things start from the beginning. I'm not sure what that means, but here we are. I was glad to do this assessment as I look to focus on what specific areas can be practiced to best serve my new student. His score on the Solemn was in an early learner's profile with a score of 7 out of 25. He scored a 2 in comprehension and pronunciation and a 1 in fluency, vocabulary, and grammar. These scores and assessments made do point me in a general direction of how to proceed with instruction. Because comprehension and pronunciation are higher, I'm going to focus more on the meat of the language, building vocabulary and practicing grammar versus looking for reading comprehension or working on phonics for our next lesson. In yesterday's lesson, after this assessment, we looked at some vocabulary words found in a short story article on ping pong, a sport of interest to the student. I recently learned through our work in this course that it is important to scaffold vocabulary that may show up in read alouds or independent reading. This method worked for these words, but there were others still that posed a question for the reader. In our next lesson, I will grow a stronger base with regards to weather, another lesson taught yesterday, and ping pong. I will likely find an elementary reading on natural disasters caused by climate change, perhaps specific to tsunamis, since that was an unknown discussed in yesterday's lesson. As I think now, it might be fun to create a story somehow tying a professional ping pong Olympian to tsunamis. I don't know. It's a rough idea I'll have to work on, but I would like to encourage him to do some creative writing to see him develop in grammar and fluency. My student is very intent on doing well on a placement exam happening sometime this spring or early summer for admission to a good high school. Professor Tan is doubtful of his abilities, but I will do my best to help the student toward this goal. Armed with the names of his middle school English teacher, town, city, and province, and the almighty Google Translator, I'll look into the process online this week and see how I can best serve him. In English, we have a very important saying: where there's a will, there's a way. And I'd like to add that where there's a willing student, there's an A. I just made that up. I did some jazz chants with the student yesterday as well. This is much more difficult with a teenager than it is with an elementary school student, which is maybe one of the reasons why I enjoy working with elementary school students so much more. But he did participate a little. If I can build on that lack of inhibition and work with him creatively on his writing, I think his language ability and agility will improve. I'm hopeful for him. He's a great kid and he seems to have confidence in the possibility of success. As his teacher, however, Sure, our relationship may come to be. It is my job to make that possibility into a probability and an absolution in its entirety. Yes, so lofty. We shall see. Thanks for listening.